SpongeBob SquarePants is one of the series with the most mysteries you can find, but there are some that no matter how hard you try, simply have no answer. And today we're going to explore these mysteries. What happened to the Krusty Krab 2? We all know that in the 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Mr. Krabs gets bitten by the money bug stronger than ever, so he decides to open a second Krusty Krab. And wow, this really caught the attention of all of Bikini Bottom. It was even going to have a big opening that made it onto the news. Wow, the news was so big that poor SpongeBob thought he was going to become the manager of that second Krusty Krab. We all know everything that happened in that awesome movie. So then, in the end, what happened to this Krusty Krab 2? We never saw it again in any of the other episodes, movies, or even spin-offs. Some say it was simply too much for Mr. Krabs to handle two restaurants at the same time. Others believe that the second Krusty Krab went out of business. And even the craziest ones think that this Krusty Krab 2 was never meant to sell more burgers. Rather, it was for money laundering, and the truth is, there was never an official explanation. In the SpongeBob universe, the restaurant simply disappears. Actually, I think this Krusty Krab 2 somehow wasn't canon. And before you get too mad and start barking at me and turning into a Therian, I have a reason. It all has to do with Neptune. Why are there several Neptunes? In the first seasons of SpongeBob, King Neptune was imposing. He had long hair and a Giga Chad body. Then SpongeBob comes to the movie and he shows up completely bald, about 200 kilos heavier and totally washed up. And then in Sponge on the Run, we see him with a completely different look. How? Why? The most logical theory is that his design depends on the vibe they want him to give off. In the 2004 movie, they had to make him all goofy and almost divorced for it to work. Neptune or Giga Chad would have just wiped the floor with everyone and gone back to his castle to eat Krabby Patties. That definitely wouldn't have made a good movie, right? So actually, if you look it up anywhere, there's no official confirmation as to why Neptune changes so much. So, if tomorrow we see him coming out of the closet, I wouldn't be surprised. Who is Pearl's real mom? Let me see. Explain to me how a whale is the daughter of a crab. Either Pearl is adopted or Mr. Krabs did something really shady, because officially, it's said that Mr. Krabs is indeed Pearl's biological father. In the trivia book from 2000, they mentioned that Pearl takes after her mother and that Mr. Krabs really is her father. So the question is, where is the mother? We never knew anything about her, and she never even appeared in a photo. There are some who say that the mother ended up as ingredients in Mr. Krabs' Krabby Patties. Others say that she simply left Mr. Krabs because he was greedy and stingy with her, and so we were left with doubts. The thing is that Steven Hillenburg, the official creator, actually planned to make a full episode in Season 5 telling the whole story of Pearl's mother. But they simply canceled it so that the mystery would stay alive. So yes, they were going to give us the truth, but they just said, go ahead and get confused with your weird theories instead. And here we are making this video. How did SpongeBob and Patrick become friends? Many people have wondered for years how on earth these two became friends. But what they don't know is that in the episode SB-129 of SpongeBob, they give us the answer. Well, Squidward gets frozen, travels 2,000 years into the future, then moves through time and ends up in the caveman era. And what do we see there? Caveman versions of SpongeBob and Patrick being friends since prehistoric times. And what many didn't realize is that the one who bonds SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship forever is Squidward. Because he sees them hurting each other like brainless cavemen, so he gives them nets to catch jellyfish. That's also when he created their favorite game. So, well, Squidward unintentionally brought together the dumbest duo in all of Bikini Bottom and made them best friends. How the heck is there fire underwater? This is one of the questions that has intrigued people the most. I mean, how the heck do you light a fire under the sea? In Life of Crime, SpongeBob and Patrick steal a balloon on International Free Balloon Day. They run away like criminals and sit around the campfire underwater and with flames. Patrick is the one who says, if we're underwater, how can there be... And it's not the only time we see fire. In Party Pooper Pants, SpongeBob receives an invitation that gets ruined because he lives under the sea. He mocks it like a fool and ends up burning it like it's nothing. They literally know it doesn't make sense, so it just exists, that's it. And if you don't like it, there it is. He loves Dora the Explorer, so don't come bothering me. How old is SpongeBob? Well, sea sponges are supposed to be almost immortal and can live longer than a dinosaur. But then, how old is SpongeBob? We find this out in the episode Sleepy Time. On his license, we can see that it says he was born on July 14, 1986. Just do the math, guys. The show started in 1999. Here, SpongeBob was already a kid, just 13 years old. In the 2004 movie, he was already 18, that's why he put on a mustache. So, if you think about it, it was obvious they wouldn't make him manager of the Krusty Krab 2, the kid was just coming out of his teenage years. So by today, 2026, he would be 40 years old. Already a full-grown man with a hat! Now he could be the manager of the Krusty Krab 2, but you know, he just disappeared. Although, let's be honest, SpongeBob is mentally frozen at 13 years old forever. The possible futures of SpongeBob. SpongeBob's future is just as weird as he is. And actually, he doesn't just have one future, he has several! First, in SB-129, Squidward travels 2,000 years into the future and runs into Spongetron, who is basically SpongeBob but with 486 clones around him. I mean, Sponge doesn't just survive through time, he multiplies like a plague. Then, in the episode Spongehenge from Season 5, SpongeBob tries to escape from the jellyfish and goes to live alone. He fails and ends up building giant statues of himself so the jellyfish stick to them. Thousands of years later, madness! Those statues still exist and become a historical legacy. And in Season 14, they show us another future version. At first, it looks like a hologram, but the real SpongeBob from the future is a transparent cube with wheels. What crazy futures SpongeBob has. He just keeps evolving, but he's still as unstoppable as ever. What is the real secret ingredient of the Krabby Patty? Ever since SpongeBob started, Plankton has been obsessed with stealing the Krabby Patty formula. This little bacteria with legs has nothing better to do. He's done everything. Robots, disguises, sneaking into bottles, manipulating SpongeBob with songs, even turning the Krusty Krab into a daycare. And he always ends up humiliated. His most warlike moment was in the episode Plankton's Army, where he gathers his whole family, millions and millions, mini copias igual de locas que él, end up surrounding the Krusty Krab, they catch Mr. Krabs, and finally open the safe. And when they think they've won, the recipe says that the secret ingredient is ground plankton. But this was just a joke by Mr. Krabs, so the truth was never revealed. SpongeBob says that the real ingredient is love. Others say it's crab because the name says it all and there are no more crabs. So, which one do you think is the secret ingredient? Well, if you want to find out, go watch our video about the darkest SpongeBob theories that turned out to be true, where we reveal the truth. Alright guys, those were all the mysteries of SpongeBob. If you know any others, leave them in the comments. See you in the next SpongeBob video.